host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a simple shift that is going to change everything for you as a coach, as a mentor, as an educator, as an online entrepreneur that is selling online services. And what I see a lot of the time is we show up in these ways where we think we need to be extremely calculated and strategic and linear, and we have to follow these rules in order to be hired, to be accepted, to be liked. And I find that this results in a lot of people showing up, a lot of entrepreneurs showing up as a watered down version of themselves, meaning they show up, they talk about their content, they make offers, they make invitations to join. But at the same time, it still is like 30 or 40 or 50% of, and maybe a little bit more, right? But that's kind of the range that it ends up being. That is the range in which they're showing up, not at full capacity. And I think that a lot of us are afraid of showing up at full capacity, say 100% in our marketing, because we're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of saying that thing that people are going to unfollow us for. We're afraid of saying that thing that one person in our audience that disagrees with what you have to say. And so you kind of just tone it down a little bit and you give it a more like watered down, like vanilla version of it so that people don't come for you, right? And what this is doing is it is simultaneously repelling the people who really want to work with you. Because the truth of the matter is the people who really want to work with you, they need to hear those things from you, right? And not even that that's the first time that they've heard it. It's that they need to hear it coming from you. They need to hear it coming out of your mouth. They need to hear and know and confirm that you think the way they think. And without saying that, it might not be brand new information to them, but without explicitly saying how you feel, they may not know that you are the person that they want to work with. The way I see it is think of it as a meter or a scale, right? And when someone finds you and they follow you, this starts to build. They see something you like and it grows a little bit. The meter goes up, right? You have a couple of like fire posts in a row. You say something that like hits it on the nail for them. And they're like, ooh, yes, this is my person. Like, I like this person. Like, we'll vibe. Like, let's go. I love this. Right. And then the meter goes up. And the more that you show up in this authentic, fiery, badass, raw version of yourself, the more the meter goes up. Because trust me, especially at this point in Instagram or social media marketing, there is no room for vanilla shit any longer. Like it just will not survive. And I'm sure you've seen it as well. If you're posting something motivational or inspirational or quotes, right? Or things that are just kind of like, you can just throw up there. No one's really going to say anything. Like it's safe. It's safe marketing, right? It makes you feel safe. It makes your nervous system feel safe. But then everyone else, especially the people who are maybe thinking about working with you or the people who don't even know that you have a business or that they don't know that you're the coach for them, they don't know how to self-identify. And that meter on that scale never continues going up. It either stays stagnant or it starts coming down because they're like, oh, this person, I can't really tell what they're about. I don't really know what they stand for. I don't really know what their values are. They're not really being like explicit and loud about it. So they eventually just kind of filter off, and maybe they stay followed, right? But they're not really engaged, or they end up unfollowing and they walk themselves out the door, right? But what happens when you are really explicit and loud and you go all out and you're unapologetic and you say these things that you feel and you don't hold back, you don't water yourself down, that is how you attract your fuck yes clients. That is how you attract people who are like ride or die for you and love learning from you and love being in your presence and see that they can gain value and have already gained value just from being one of your followers, one of your listeners, one of your viewers, right? This is how you change people's lives, and you already elicit, you already change, you already create those shifts just from them being in your presence, right? And that's a really powerful aspect of showing up online, because there already is so much noise. There already are so many voices. And so it's not about drowning out competition. It's about being authentically yourself, right? And some people might think, oh, well, there's so many voices. I better show up as the one that is making the most money, or I got to sound like the person who's doing the best, or I got to mimic the person who's most successful. But the people who are most successful most of the time, they have found their authentic voice. So even if you try to mimic that, and even if you try to be a copycat of that, it doesn't come off genuine, and people can sense that, right? When you are in your raw, unfiltered, unapologetic, fiery, fuck yes energy, nobody can replicate that. Nobody can duplicate that. That is unmimicable because it is your raw energy. Nobody can take your essence from you. That is your spirit. That is your life force, right? That is your energy coming to life. You are activated in your most raw, transparent, vulnerable self. This is your truest identity. That is why nobody can be a carbon copy of somebody else online. And trying to copy someone who is successful doesn't work, because you need to identify your own true identity and your own true voice and unapologetic, honest power. And that's really important, because every single person has that. And people can tell, your audience can tell when you're trying to show up as someone who's not you. Right? So identifying your own unapologeticness, your own fiery magnetism, your own way of communicating what you want to your people and how you want to express yourself, and expressing your values and who you are and what you stand for, saying the thing that's going to ruffle feathers, saying the thing that kind of feels like I probably shouldn't have said that. Like that should have been something I left out. Those are the things that you want to say boldly and loudly, because those are the things that are going to snap people's attention into order, make them do a double take and look at your content and look at what you have to offer, because that is you in your most authentic power. And people need to hear that, right? You have those values and thoughts and opinions for a reason. And it's okay that not everybody agrees with it. It's okay that not everyone's on board with it, right? It's okay that, even some of your clients, existing clients, might not agree with what you have to say. It doesn't mean that you shut down and you keep it to yourself. It means that you share this loudly, that you allow yourself to be seen. You allow yourself to take up big space. You allow yourself to say, fuck the rules, and post whenever you want and show up when you want, and be this person that is allowing themselves to say, hey, here I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. And here's how we can work together, right? Being clear is being kind. And when you are showing someone, hey, this is who I am, right? If you want to do this work together, reach out to me, right? If you want to do this work, and if you want to do it with me, here's how we can do it together, right? It's inviting someone into your world, into your universe, and allowing that to be a beautiful, delicious invitation. If they say no, then it's a no, right? Maybe it's not an aligned time for them, right? Maybe they're just not the aligned client that you thought they were. But I promise, when you show up in this energy, people come out of the woodworks, people come out from lurking, people will pop in who will say that they've been watching you for months, and you're like, who? I don't even know you. And I thought I knew everyone on my list, even my clients and my students who have really small followings. And they're like, but I know everyone on that list, Tiffany. Like, I know they're just family, they're just friends, they don't want coaching. And then when they start working with me, when we start implementing a marketing strategy, they start shifting their thoughts around marketing and showing up in that unapologetic energy. They literally start book like one of my magic mind mastermind clients was like, oh my gosh, I just booked a client who was one of my first, I think it was her very first client's husband. And he didn't even show up to like this big master class that she had been planning, and all these ways that she could have been like, okay, figure out the how. How am I going to find my next client? How, right? We get so hopped up on that. And she was like, he literally just came out of like, he was my first client's husband. Like, how could I have expected that to come through? Right. It's like these ways that we don't even expect, because how could we? How could we know? Right? Another one of my Magic Mind mastermind students, they're literally killing it, said, I just booked my first male client. So she'd been working with primarily women this entire time. And she said, my audience, doesn't have a lot of men in it, but this client was referred to me by his sister. And I was like, amazing. Yes. And to me, these aren't shocking. Sometimes my students are like, what? What do you mean? How did this happen? And I'm like, of course it happened. Right. And then I make them do a success evaluation on it so that they can take responsibility for how they created this and trace this back, et cetera. That's something that's really important to me in the mastermind. But to me, as their coach, I'm like, of course, you're showing up in your unapologetic energy. You are showing up in this way that is truly you. Of course, it's going to attract people because this is an energetic thing. When you are co-creating with your magic, your soul purpose, and the spirit of your business, something happens spiritually where your business and this entity starts pulling people to you. They start getting nudges. All of a sudden, you'll start seeing people who are like, wait, I don't even know how I found you. I don't even know when I started following you, but I need to work with you right now, right? Those type of vibes where they're like, I don't even, you just popped up. You randomly just popped up. And I don't know how, because we don't have any mutual friends or whatever, right? Like these random ways show up, but you have to be open to that. You have to be open to that being a possibility for you, and not just where, but how, but my audience is just all these people. Like, you have to release that in order to open yourself and be like, yup, I am open to my fuck yes aligned clients. Like, I am open to making this happen. And I'm willing to go all out. I'm willing to go all out in my marketing and sell and talk about my offer and do it multiple times a week and take up space and post multiple times a day, when in the past I would only post once a day, right? I want to allow myself to take up more space online, to be seen, to be authentic, to be raw, to share that thing that my mom is probably going to clutch her pearls at. And if you need to mute and block and restrict family members and relatives or even friends in order to get your message out there, then do it. I've done it. And it's really empowering and liberating to do that, because I know now I am not worried about like someone texting me or someone messaging me, or, my mom going, why did you have to post this? Or why did you have to say that? Is because this is my authentic truth. And sometimes people aren't going to like it or agree with it, right? Especially like coming from a very traditionally Chinese family. Like, they don't want you putting your shit out there. They don't want you talking about your family. They want you to save face and be professional and to, keep these things to yourself. But part of me building an authentic business that's in integrity and serving my people and helping them come home to themselves is sharing my authentic truth and standing really strong in that for myself. And if I'm not doing that, and if I'm not showing up as all of me 100% of the time, then I don't want it. right? Like this is the version of myself that I want to be. And it's really important for me to be her all the time and to be in spaces where I can be her, where I can be me, right? That's so important to me. And I want that to be important to you too when you're showing up online. And I really hope that this episode encourages you to step out of these rules that you've been taught of, like, this is the only way you can show up, this is the only way you can write captions, this is how many times you can post, this is how you need to post, this is what you need to say, this is how you need to market, right? I hope this post gives you the invitation to release that and show up in a way that just feels good to you and just feels authentic and real to you, right? And that might feel scary, and that might be like, it might give you a vulnerability hangover the next morning where you're like, "Oh my God, did I share too much?" Right? And that's how you know you're doing it. That's how you know you are really being your truest, most big self online. And I really want to encourage you to do that. And I promise if you implement this, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you start messaging me, because this totally happens. You start messaging me a couple days or a couple weeks after implementing this, going like, "Tiffany, oh my God, I listened to the episode and this is what I did. And someone just popped up and I'd never heard of them before, or I didn't even think they were interested. And now they want to work with me. And now I have a new paying client," right? Like, I would not be surprised. In fact, I'm manifesting it right now for you. And I cannot wait to get those messages and those responses. So I just know that it's so possible. And I truly think that marketing, I teach marketing, and I talk about different marketing techniques, and I go really deep into it inside Business Activation Academy, and then even deeper with my advanced room inside the mastermind, Magic Mind. But I think the basis of it is this, right? Is showing up as a human and showing up as yourself. That's really that first layer. That's so important to draw people in, right? And it doesn't need to be this extremely complicated 10-step strategy that you follow this and do this and you post this way and you write that way. It's like, it doesn't need to look like that. It really truly doesn't. This is coming from someone that used to teach social media, right? And used to teach things like that, which I obviously don't anymore. Who used to teach like, okay, well, this is like the most optimal time to post and blah blah blah. And when I was teaching those things, like, that's all I really knew, right? And so through shifting my business and my mindset, now I have a completely different approach to showing up in your marketing, attracting your focused clients, and that is what has gotten me to, about to cross over $1 million in sales revenue. And I love sharing it with my people, and I'm really excited for you all to access this. Okay. If you want to work on this deeper, if you want to take your marketing and your selling and attracting paid clients seriously and really go all in your business, and you want to turn this into your full-time income, maybe you're working a day job that you no longer want to be at because it doesn't serve you anymore, and you want to work for yourself full-time, working with your clients that you love serving and you love working with, or maybe you're in the beginning stages of crafting that, I want to invite you to work with me inside Business Activation Academy. This is my foundational signature program that isn't just a course, it's a lifetime membership to the course and live coaching calls with me every single month, but on a bi-weekly basis. Okay. So you get access to the entire course, which has the modules on how to design your offer and showing up to unapologetically market, how to conduct a sales call, all these things that you need to know in order to powerfully show up and sign clients, as well as the personalized coaching and feedback on the live calls with me, and a private community that really feels like a family that is there to support you and encourage you and empower you and be there for you, which I think are all components of building a really successful business. So if that is something that feels like a fuck yes to you, I invite you to join us inside BAA. It is for my coaches, mentors, healers, business owners, service providers that are more in their early beginning stages of business, where you want to get into a rhythm of signing clients effortlessly. You want to get into a rhythm of, hitting your first 5K and then creating consistent 5K months and beyond. These are for the people that are really just starting from ground zero. Maybe you have no idea what to offer as your very first coaching offer, and you're starting here, or maybe you've already launched, but you're not seeing the clientele. You don't really know how to show up and market. You don't really know how to conduct sales calls or even how to put that together. This is your step-by-step comprehensive academy that teaches you how to do all of that. And you can hop around into the sales module, into the marketing module, into the design your offer module, right? There's so much in there that is so valuable for you to know as you're in those beginning stages. And if you've already hit 5K in your business, you're working towards, 10K in revenue, or even beyond, maybe into 15K, but you have a steady flow of clients, or you feel like you're getting there and it feels more effortless. You already have an offer you've been selling, you've already been hopping on sales calls. I invite you to join us in the advanced room, which is my Magic Mind Mastermind. So this is a 5-month business mastermind for spirit-led coaches, healers, magicians. We work together for 5 months to personalize your own marketing and sales strategies and really work intimately together. It's a small container. I cap it at a certain amount because I want to be in each one of my students' businesses in the mastermind to really know what's going on. How can I serve you? How can we take this to the next fucking level? That's truly the basis of this mastermind is, all right, you're seeing traction, you're booking clients, you know how to, show up and market on a basic level, you know how to conduct sales calls on a basic level. Let's ramp this up. Let's turn this up a notch. Let's double your fucking revenue. Let's get you ready to go into your journey of making 6 figures. Let's see what needs to be tightened up. Let's see what needs to be released. Let's see how we can really test and blow the fuck up through your offer and your marketing and aligning to your energy. And my philosophy for coaching, as most of you know, is always bringing you home to your own intuition and your own magic and your own inner guidance, right? This isn't just, okay, this is what worked for me, and here you get to be in my energy and follow my strategy step by step. That's not what I teach. If that's what you're looking for, I'm not the coach for you. I help my students guide themselves back into their own light, their own magic, their own soul purpose. I don't tell them what to do. I always guide them to making powerful decisions for themselves, not to just show up as a really powerful CEO that's great at coaching, but a really a powerful coach that's great at coaching, but a powerful CEO who's great at running a business, knows how to market, knows how to sell. Because let's face it, if you're a coach, if you're a service provider, if you're a mentor, you're also a marketer. You're also a salesperson. It's not always something we think about when we go into coaching because we just want to help people. But these are really important skills that are valuable, not just valuable, but mandatory in growing a successful business, especially if you are the coach or mentor that wants to grow into 6 figures and beyond. And it's okay if you don't want that, but the mastermind are for those ambitious people who are like 100% fuck yes, I want to grow into 6 figures and I want to do it with you. All right. So the waitlist for that is in the show notes. We're enrolling in August for the October 2023 round. And that is the last round for this year. We're going into February of 2024. So if you want to be a part of this room, if you want to be a part of that magic mind, the mastermind, then you want to make sure to be on the wait list for open enrollments, and details, all of that good stuff is in there. And if you want to join us inside Business Activation Academy, the link to enroll is also in the show notes. And if you want to chat, you want to talk further, you want to bounce back and forth based on where you're at and get some of my personalized guidance, you can always DM me at tiffanychong.co on Instagram, and we can talk more there. All right. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I will see you next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.